Hello, guys. I am Zoe. I have been no contact with my mother-in-law ever since she pushed me down the stairs. Actually, I had a restraining order against her. My mother-in-law had always been very jealous of me and tried to create problems between me and my husband a lot of times. I only kept her in our lives because my husband, Devin, couldn't bear to be without his dear mother. I shut my mouth and put up with all of my mother-in-law's verbal abuse until she actually laid her hands on me. Yes, she pushed me down the stairs, intentionally. The worst part was that I was pregnant with my son Cody when it happened. I was rushed to the hospital and I was bleeding a lot. The doctors thought that I wouldn't make it because I had lost a lot of blood. There was also a big chance that my son wouldn't make it too. By God's grace, we both survived. After this incident, my husband cut off all contact with his mother. He finally agreed that keeping his mother in our lives wasn't a good thing. He didn't stop me when I filed a police case against my mother-in-law. He knew that he couldn't have stopped me. In my state, harming a pregnant woman carries a very strong punishment. Mother-in-law went to jail for some time and had to undergo psychiatric evaluation. She was found to have a lot of mental health issues. I had already decided long back that my mother-in-law would never meet Cody. She was in jail for the first few parts of his life anyway. I knew that Jill was a dangerous woman and shouldn't be around my son at all. My husband has agreed with that as well. I thought that was all, but then something strange happened. My husband came to me when Cody was 4 and said, "Can we talk, Zoe? I have something to ask you." "Sure, what is it, Devin? Would you be open to the idea of my mom meeting Cody?" This had literally come out of nowhere. I had no idea why he was suddenly asking that I allow our son to meet his mother. Remember, guys, this woman had almost gotten me and my child killed. Devon had recognized that she was mentally unstable and violent, so she was not safe to be around Cody. But now he was telling me if I would allow her to meet Cody. I was immediately furious and said, "Absolutely not, Devin. What is wrong with you? Why would you even suggest that?" I'm sorry, Zoe. I didn't want to upset you. I just think that since a lot of years have passed, that doesn't erase the fact that your mother almost killed me and Cody. Did you just conveniently forget about that? How can I forget that, Zoe? I haven't forgotten anything. It's just that people make mistakes and sometimes we must give them a second chance. Well, she will never get a second chance from me, and that's final. Devin and I had a big fight after this. He tried very hard to convince me that I should let his mother meet our son. We fought for days, after which Devin finally understood that I wouldn't be budging on my stance. I remember that he had told me that he didn't agree with my stance, but would leave it for my sake. He promised that wouldn't bring it up again and respect my wishes. I should have been more careful and not taken his words at face value, because this man ended up not sticking to his word. A month later, Devon started allocating Saturdays as dad-son days. He took our son out to the park for some bonding time. I found that very adorable since he rarely had time to spend with Cody after work. I noticed that Cody had been excitedly asking his father when he was going to take him to the park. So I thought that Cody was also enjoying having some one-on-one time with his father. Nothing seemed amiss when they returned from the park. So I never had doubts about where they had been. This dad and son bonding Saturdays became a tradition and kept going on for 6 whole months. I must admit that sometimes I felt like joining them, but never did. I didn't want to hurt Devin's feelings because he liked spending some alone time with his son. Still, one day, I couldn't help myself from asking Cody, "So, do you like going to the park every week, Cody? How about I come along someday? Will you like that?" "I don't go to the park every week, Mom." What? But you do go to the park every week, Cody. You and your dad go out for fun times on Saturday. Did you forget about that, Cody? "Dad never takes me to the park, Mom. He always promises, but he never does." I looked at Cody confused. I didn't know why he said that his father never took him to the park. It is true that every Saturday, Cody always demanded that his father take him to the park as promised the previous week, so I had no reason to think that my husband was lying to me. But my son was telling me that my husband never took him to the park. I was very confused, and something didn't sit right with me. My motherly instincts started to kick in, and I tried to find out what was going on. So I said, "Does your father really not take you to the park, Cody?" "No, he doesn't take me to the park, Mom. We drive by but never stop." "Then what do you do when you are out with Dad? You guys must be doing something since you return pretty late." "We go to a secret house, Mom." "It's a secret, so I cannot tell you." The moment I heard the words secret house, alarm bells began to ring loudly in my brain. Now I was sure that my husband was up to something. It had been 6 whole months of Devin and Cody having their dad-son time. I had to know what they had been doing all this time instead of going to the park. I had a gut feeling that I wouldn't like the answer to that. But I am not someone who likes living in denial. I find ripping the Band-Aid away more convenient than letting things fester. So I gently asked Cody, "Who told you about this, Cody? What is this secret house?" "Dad told me that it is a secret, so I shouldn't tell you." "He will be very angry if I tell you, Mom." "You need to tell me where you went, Cody. It's okay, I won't ask you where the house was. Can you at least tell me who is in that house and what you do? That way I wouldn't know anything about where this secret house is." "I guess I can tell you that. We don't do much. Daddy and Grandma have a conversation, and sometimes she plays with me. She cooks us food too." "Wait, what? You went to see your grandma? But your grandma lives far away, remember?" No, this is my other grandma. She told me that she was Dad's mother. We go to meet that grandma, Mom." My blood ran cold when my son said that. At first, I thought that my son was talking about my grandmother. She was the only grandmother he knew in his life. We never told him about his dad's mother, and he never asked. So when he said that he had been meeting with his grandma every week, I naturally assumed that he was talking about my mother. But that didn't make sense either. My parents lived 2 states away, and she wouldn't fly down here without telling me. Plus, they didn't own any house in our city. That's why I asked him some more about this Grandma Cody was talking about. Thank God I did, because otherwise I wouldn't have found out that my husband had been taking our son to meet his super abusive mother. I couldn't sleep that night. I tossed and turned all night because I didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't confront my husband and didn't push Cody to say more. He only told me whatever I had mentioned above. I still had no idea where Devin was taking our son and how he managed to get his mother into our city. I didn't like confronting Devin with empty hands because I knew from past experiences that he would deny everything. Plus, if Devon really had been taking Cody to see his mother, I needed to be prepared for the worst. I couldn't lose my cool and jinx things. So I remained quiet while I did some of my own digging. The next morning, I went on a lunch date with my friends and told them the whole deal. They listened to me and agreed that something needed to be done. All of them volunteered to find more information on my behalf. I set my girl gang out to investigate. I didn't want to do everything myself because I didn't want my husband to suspect me and start hiding his tracks. It absolutely disgusted me to act all normal around him, but it was what I had to do. There was still a long time left for their dad-son day out, so I had plenty of time to see what my husband was up to. My friends are very helpful and resourceful, so they brought me all the information within the next 3 days. And it confirmed my worst fears. My son was right. His father was taking him to see his mother every Saturday. Devin had ignored all my warnings and blatantly disrespected my feelings. He knew that I didn't want my son around his witch of a mother, and for good reasons. Still, he didn't care. Apparently, he had brought his mother to our city on his dime and let her stay in a rented house. Guess who was paying the rent and bills there? Yep, it was my husband. One of my friends had a friend who lived close to the park, so she had asked her. Turns out she was Jill's neighbor. I had gone to meet the woman and see for myself if it was really true. Yes, it was true. My mother-in-law was living there. The neighbor said to me, Jill has told me all about her personal life. She also told everyone that you are a controlling witch and hated her. So I didn't want her near my son. Wow. That's good to know. Did she even mention how she threw me down the stairs while I was pregnant with her son's child? Nope, she was smart enough not to boast about that. What else did she boast about? She also boasts about how her son is paying for everything for her and also bringing her grandson to her every week without telling me. It is all an evil game to her. She laughs about it all the time. So, how long has this been going on? Do you remember when you first saw my husband coming here with my child? It was around 6 months ago. They have never missed a Saturday. I think the kid doesn't enjoy coming here. He usually leaves very sad. Your evil husband keeps promising him to take him to the park next time. I am guessing that he never kept a promise. No, he didn't keep his promises. Thank you so much for helping me out. I will always remember your help. I hope you won't tell my husband or my mother-in-law about our conversation. Oh, no, girl, you can rest easily. I have no intention of helping abusers and wannabe murderers. We have enough of them as it is. I was really grateful for her help. I got to know a lot from her. By the time I knew everything, I was pretty mad about the situation. But once I got the confirmation, I started collecting proof and even managed to see texts between Devin and his mother. I knew his password and did some digging. He had tried to be sneaky, but a simple, good search showed me how people can conceal conversations. I found out about his conversation with Jill pretty easily. I screenshot them and sent them to my lawyer. Yes, I went to see a lawyer. The day after I had the conversation with Cody, I made him file for divorce just in case. I guess deep down, my heart, I knew that I was being fooled. I knew that my child wouldn't lie to me or make up things for fun. So I had already filed for divorce and kept the papers ready. I confronted my husband on his day out with our son. I left the house before them and parked a block away. I waited for them at the neighbor's house. As soon as my husband took my son out of the seat, I walked out of the neighbor's house and marched straight towards him. Devin took one look at me and froze. His smile vanished and his eyes turned wide. I put my son back in his car and told him to stay there till I told him to come out. Then I stared at Devin with my arms crossed. He started to stumble upon his words and said, What are you doing here, Zoe? Didn't you have to go to your friend's house? I should ask you the same question, Devin. You should be at a children's park with our son. Why are you at this random house then? Oh, yes, I was driving to the park as usual, but a buddy of mine needed some help, so I thought I would come over and help him. I would have taken Cody to the park later. The lies left tumbling out of his mouth. I was even more disgusted with Devin than before. He had been literally caught red-handed and was still lying to my face. I really wanted to slap him, but I didn't want to pull myself down to his mother's level. I don't hit people, no matter how horrible they are, so I controlled my violent urges and said, Is that the story you were going for, Devin? There is no story, Zoe. I am telling you what happened. It's as simple as that. Why are you making a big deal out of this? Were you really taking our son to the park for the past 6 months, Devin? Or were you busy helping out your so-called friend here? Well, we do come here sometimes, but we mostly go to the park. It's nothing like you are assuming, Zoe. Let me be the judge of that, Devin. So, your friend lives in this house, you say? Yeah, it's where he lay. Okay, then go ahead and ring the bell. I want to see this friend of yours, Devin. Devin looked panicked when I asked him to ring the doorbell and call his friend out. He knew very well that there was no friend on the other side of the door. He knew that his mother was the one living in the house, all thanks to him, of course. Devin couldn't say that to me, of course. He was still under the delusion that he would be able to convince me that nothing was wrong. He had decided that he would lie himself out of this mess. Too bad that he didn't stand a chance. I already knew the full truth and I was just playing him for some fun. Besides, I had my phone set on record so that I could prove I never gave his permission to take Cody to Jill. I had thought things through and consulted with my lawyer so that I had a strong case. This was a great way to get everything on record. I knew that he could always sue me for that. So I said, mind you, Devin, I am already recording this conversation, so you better have nothing to hide. What are you talking about, Zoe? I have nothing to hide. Why would I hide anything from you? You tell me, Devin. You hid the fact that for the past 6 months, you have never taken our child to the park like you have been saying. Instead, you have been coming here. I am telling you, Zoe, there is nothing to worry about. My friend likes hanging out with Cody since he doesn't have kids of his own. Nothing else is going on here. Okay, then, Devin, why don't you ring the doorbell and introduce me to this friend of yours? Common Zoe, there is no need for that. We will be disturbing him. He has been expecting you, so I don't know how this would be a disturbance. Just ring the doorbell. You are going to make a scene here. You are mad at me. I can see it. I can't let you ruin my reputation in front of my friend and cause drama at his house. After this point, my patience with him was completely gone. I was tired of waiting for him to come clean to me. I had given him plenty of chances to come clean and just confess, but my husband kept lying and then accused me of starting drama. That's when I snapped and said, "Oh, stop it, Devon. I know that there is no friend on the opposite end of the door. Devon, wait, you know, that you brought your mother here and had been taking our son to see her every Saturday for the last 6 months." Devon froze for a second time that day. He was desperately hoping that I hadn't found out the truth, but I was one step ahead of him. Instead of confronting him or giving him the chance to gaslight me, I found proof and caught him red-handed. He thought he could lie and somehow manage things. Well, karma was coming for him, and I was going to bring it to him. My husband legitimately got so nervous and scared that he started to shake a little. Even his voice shook as he said, you know, how? How did you find out? You thought that I wouldn't find out, right? Because you basically manipulated our toddler into staying quiet. You told him not to tell me anything. Well, guess what? He didn't need to tell me everything. As soon as he talked about his second grandma, I started to dig and discover everything on my own. I don't know what to say, Zoe. I know that you are mad at me. You should understand why I did this. Do you really expect me to understand why you took my toddler to an abuser? You know that Jill is unstable and impulsively violent. She is his grandmother. You should understand that she wants a connection with her. So you care nothing about your son's safety. No, your mother's need to know your son outweighed your fatherly concern for Cody. It's not like that, Zoe. She would never hurt our son, Zoe. Cody is also her blood. You said that your mother wouldn't hurt me either. But she did, didn't she, Cody? You do remember that we have a restraining order against her. Common, Zoe. That was a long time ago. You are being extremely unfair to me and my mother. It's time to let this go. I want to have my mother in my life. If you hadn't been so against this, I wouldn't have had to lie or sneak around. Devin suddenly turned on me and tried to pin all the blame on me. My mouth hung open as I tried to process what he said. I knew my marriage was over, but at that point, I felt comfortable enough to inform my husband of that fact. I was raging mad inside, but I put on a small smile and said, "Oh, by all means, Devin, go ahead and have your mother in your life. You know what? You are right. I am no one to tell you who you can or cannot have in your life. I have no problem anymore." See, it's not that difficult now, is it, Zoe? You need to loosen up a little. Give my mother a chance and see how much she has changed. You can give your mother as many chances as you want, Devin. You wouldn't have to worry about me and our son anymore. There is no need to sneak around. You can openly support your mother and spend your days with her. Maybe you should invite her into your home because me and Cody will no longer live with you. What do you mean, Zoe? I am leaving you, Devin. I am done with you. I won't let you compromise our son's safety for your worthless mother. I am getting a divorce and suing for full custody. This marriage is over. Devin looked like he had been hit by a ton of bricks. He legitimately looked like I had slapped him. His panic came back as he processed my words. He should have known that this would happen. I don't know what his endgame was. It was just inevitable that I would find out one day and leave him. No matter what his messed up logic he had used, it has failed him. He was going to pay very dearly for going behind my back and compromising our son's safety. As soon as he heard about our divorce, he realized how badly he messed up. He started to panic and teared up a little as he said, No, you can't do this to me, Zoe. You can't leave me. You can't leave me. It's already done, Devin. I had filed for divorce on the day I found out about your mother. Here are the papers. Make sure they are signed and in my lawyer's hands as soon as possible. No, please. Don't do this, Zoe. Don't leave me. Don't take my son away from me. I need you both in my life. I cannot live without you two. You should have thought about this before, Devin. You should have set your priorities straight and not done what you did. Mom kept begging me, Zoe. My heart softened. I know what I did was wrong. I know I shouldn't have done that. I can't change the past, Zoe, but please, give me a chance to make things right. I don't see how you can make things right, Devin. I will do anything. I will cut off my mother again. I will stop spending money on her. I won't do anything stupid again, I promise. You made those promises before, Devin. We all know what happened to that. So don't bother to try and trap me with your lies. I am done with you, and you will pay for what you did. I said that and took my son out of the car. Then I told Devin to look for another place and went back to the house. Devin had been begging and pleading with me not to leave him. He even followed me to the house and kept begging me not to go through with my plans. He tried to use our son against me, but I shut that down real quick. I simply told him to pack a bag and leave the house. Devin had tried to do everything possible to make sure he got 50-50 custody. He also fought hard to stop the divorce. He had continued to beg and plead with me, too. I allowed him access to our son, but only when it was supervised by me. His mother never came near us, and the neighbor later told me that she left the house, too. I don't know and don't care where she went. Devin was my main problem back then. The divorce happened, and Devin couldn't do anything to stop it. He tried changing lawyers, bribing me, getting his friends involved, and many more tricks. I stayed firm and pushed for a divorce. It took time, but eventually it did happen. I also got to keep the house since I had full custody of Cody. Yes, I won full custody, too. Devin only got supervised visits. My lawyer set up a good case and was able to show that my husband had compromised our child's safety. The judge didn't even hesitate to give me full custody after knowing what my mother-in-law had done to me. Ever since the divorce, Devin has become very miserable. He lives close by, so I see how much everything has changed him. On one of his supervised visits, he told me that he had cut off his mother for good. He had said, "You were right about my mom, Zoe. She is highly mentally unstable, and it was irresponsible for me to take Cody near her." So you finally realized that your mother could have hurt our child. Yes, I realized that, Zoe. I learned it the hard way. What do you mean, Devin? Mom had been pressuring me to sneak meetings with our son again. I am much smarter now, so refuse to jeopardize whatever little time I got with Cody. But my mother didn't like my decision. She went mad and she flew into a rage. She got violent with me, and that's how I ended up with a broken nose. That explains why you have a broken nose. I feel sorry for you, Devin. She shouldn't have hit you, or anyone for that matter. I guess that was my wake-up call. I finally realized how much I have messed up. But I guess it is too late to make amends now. Devin seemed dejected, but he still begged me for another chance, though, but we all know that is never going to happen. I was happy that he finally came to his senses because I knew I wouldn't be able to have full custody of Cody for life. I needed to know that he would be safe with his father when the court would eventually allow him unsupervised time. It was sad that Devin had to be assaulted by his own mother to make him see reason. I guess that was the ultimate blow of karma. He got hurt by the person he was trying to protect. In the process, he had lost his perfectly good family. What a shame. Anyway, there is no chance of us ever being a family again. I am just maintaining a civil relationship with Devin because of Cody. My son did love his father, so I wasn't going to make life more difficult for him. Still, when Devin asks for second chances, I insult him to his face. I guess some things will never change. I have also been dating around a little, but haven't found anyone suitable yet. I guess I still have loads of time, or that's what I am telling myself. It is not exactly my priority right now. I already got out of a messed up situation, so I need some time to heal and find it in myself to trust people again. For now, I am just concentrating on my son and making sure that he is protected from the bad people in his life. He has been in therapy because he has been finding it a little difficult to cope with the divorce. Devin also attends family therapy with us as instructed by the court. He shows a lot of remorse there, so I really hope he will stick to his guns even after years pass. I guess many of you would have wanted me to go no contact, but I can't do that because of my child. I am keeping the bad feelings aside so that my child can have both parents in his life. Rest assured, I won't stop myself from cutting Devin off from our lives if he ever endangers our son again. As for my mother-in-law, she is probably rotting away somewhere where nobody wants her. She can go die for all I care. She has already burned so many bridges that no one is willing to help her anymore. She has been to jail a second time after hitting Devin, but she was released a while ago. Devin doesn't stay in touch with her anymore, and she knows that she will never see my son again. I hope she falls to the deepest pits of hell and never rises again.